I object, she shouted. You could hear someone gasp behind the bride. Someone else whispered, "Oh my God." Min-jun didn't move. He just stared, like his brain had short-circuited and didn't know which emotion to choose first. Anger, fear, relief, recognition? Before we begin, take a breath. This isn't a fast story. It's the kind you feel more than you hear. If you're ready for something emotional, messy, and honest, stay with me. And if you want to follow this story all the way to the end, like the video, subscribe, and don't forget to drop a comment. Now, let me tell you how it all started. You know that moment in weddings? The one everyone thinks is symbolic, harmless, almost outdated. The priest clears his throat, smiles, and says, "If anyone here has any reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony." Usually, nothing happens. People smile, someone coughs, life moves on. But this time, the doors opened. Not slowly, not dramatically. They opened like someone didn't care how loud it sounded. And every head turned. She walked in holding a child's hand. That's when the music stopped. Not metaphorically. The string quartet actually stopped playing. One violin screeched, just a little, before the sound died completely. You could feel it, that shift, like the air had been pulled out of the room. Because people recognized her. Not vaguely. Not, "Oh, she looks familiar." They knew her. Han Seo-Yeon. The woman Kang Min-jun used to love, in a way he never tried to hide. The woman everyone thought he would marry. She wasn't dressed to cause a scene. That's what made it worse. No white, no red, no revenge dress. Just elegant, simple, controlled. The child beside her squeezed her hand once, and then she said it. His mother stood halfway out of her seat. "What is this?" she snapped. "Security?" But the bride had already turned around. Her eyes went straight to the child. That's when the whispers started doing damage. "Is that his?" "She came with a child?" "I told you something was off." Seo-Yeon felt it, of course. That judgment pressing in from all sides. She didn't rush. She didn't defend herself. She just looked at Min-jun, really looked at him, and said the words that finished what the open doors had started. "This is your child." The silence after that, it wasn't empty. It was heavy. And the thing is, she knew exactly what everyone was thinking. They were already deciding the story for her, and she was about to let them. At first, nobody spoke. That kind of silence. The kind where people are thinking too fast to open their mouths. Then someone whispered her name. Not loudly, just enough. Seo-Yeon. And suddenly it was like the whole room caught up at once. People remembered. They remembered the photos, the old interviews where Min-jun couldn't stop smiling whenever she stood beside him. The way his hand always found her lower back, like it belonged there. They remembered how in love they were, which made the child feel louder somehow, like proof or punishment. The bride turned slowly, carefully, like one wrong movement might break something. "Min-jun," she said, not accusing, not yet. "Do you know her?" He swallowed. Of course he did. He just hadn't expected her to exist again. "This isn't real," he said finally, and it came out wrong. Too fast, too defensive. "You can't do this here." Seo-Yeon tilted her head slightly. "Here?" she repeated. "Think about it this way. You're the one who chose a public wedding." That landed. His mother stepped forward then, sharp, controlled, furious. "You disappeared," she said, pointing at Seo-Yeon. "You ran away after you cheated. And now you show up with—" She glanced at the boy. "This?" Seo-Yeon didn't raise her voice. She didn't even look at the woman at first. She crouched down in front of the child instead. "You remember what I told you?" she asked softly. The boy nodded. "Stay right here. Hold my hand." He did. Only then did she stand and face the room again. "I didn't disappear," she said. "I was erased." That word moved through the crowd differently. Erased meant something else. Erased meant intention. The bride's fingers tightened around her bouquet. "So you expect us to believe," she said slowly, "that this child—" Seo-Yeon cut in, gentle but unmovable. "You already do." And she was right, because no one was asking if the child was Min-jun's. They were asking how long he'd hidden it. Min-jun finally spoke again. his voice lower now. If this is true, he said, why now? Seo-Yeon met his eyes. Because you were about to promise forever, she said. And I needed you to remember who you broke before you did. That was the moment the wedding stopped being a wedding. It became a reckoning. And somewhere between the gasps and the stares and the child's small hand in hers, Seo-Yeon knew something important. They were all already judging her. Here's the thing no one tells you about moments like this. Once the shock wears off, people want answers. Fast, clean, simple. And Seo-Yeon knew that. That's why she didn't rush. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. We love to see how far this story's travel. And to my regulars, I love you all. Now back to the story. She waited until the whispers turned ugly, until the bride's silence felt heavier than shouting, until Min-jun's jaw tightened in that familiar way he used to do when he was cornered but still pretending he wasn't. Then she spoke again. This is your child, she said. No trembling, no drama, just a statement. You could almost hear the collective inhale. The bride laughed, just once, sharp and disbelieving. This is insane. Min-jun finally moved, one step forward, not toward the child, toward Seo-Yeon. You're lying, he said, but his voice didn't carry conviction. It carried fear. You would have told me. Seo-Yeon nodded slowly. I tried. His mother reacted instantly. Enough, she snapped. This woman is unstable. She ruined her own reputation years ago, and now she's back for attention. Seo-Yeon smiled at that, not kindly. Funny, she said. That's exactly what you said 5 years ago. That shut the woman up. Seo-Yeon looked around the room, really looked, at the guests, at the cameras someone had already lifted, at the bride who was now gripping the altar rail like it might keep her standing. Then she did something unexpected. She turned to the child. Can you tell them your age? She asked gently. The boy blinked. 5. The number dropped into the room like broken glass. 5 years. Min-jun's breath hitched. 5 years ago was exactly when Seo-Yeon disappeared. Exactly when his mother said she'd been caught cheating. Exactly when he chose silence over asking questions. This is disgusting, the bride whispered. You planned this. Seo-Yeon met her gaze. No, you inherited it. That hurt worse than shouting ever could. Min-jun ran a hand through his hair now. His composure was slipping. If this child is mine, he said, voice strained, then we'll do this properly. DNA test, quietly, not here. Seo-Yeon nodded again. Of course, she said. We will. Too easily. That should have been the warning. She reached into her bag and pulled out an envelope. I already scheduled it, she added. For today. Gasps, again. And one more thing, she said, her tone softening just a fraction. Before you decide what to do with me, or with him, she leaned in slightly, just enough for Min-jun to hear. I didn't come here to take your life apart, she said. I came because someone paid me to. Silence snapped back into place. Min-jun's eyes widened. Paid you? He whispered. Seo-Yeon straightened and faced the room again, the child's hand still locked in hers. We'll talk about who, she said calmly, and why. But you should know this, before you walk away from the altar. She looked at Min-jun. I'm not the villain in this story. And then she stopped talking. Because now the room wasn't wondering if the child was his. They were wondering who else was involved, and whether this wedding was just interrupted or weaponized. No. The bride said it quietly at first, then louder. No, this is ridiculous. She turned fully now, veil shifting, voice shaking but sharp. Are you serious right now? You're telling me you scheduled a DNA test for today? Min-jun didn't answer her. He was staring at Seo-Yeon. Who paid you? He asked. The question came out harsher than he meant it to. Or maybe not. Seo-Yeon didn't respond immediately. That pause, it did damage. His mother snapped first. This is extortion, she shouted. You walked into my son's wedding, lied about a child, and now you're saying someone paid you? Seo-Yeon finally looked at her. Lower your voice, she said calmly. Everyone can already hear you. That set her off. How dare you, Madame Kang yelled, after what you did to this family. What I did? Seo-Yeon cut in sharply now. Are you sure you want to talk about what I did? Gasps again. louder this time. The bride turned to Min-jun, panic breaking through her composure. Say something, she demanded. Tell her to leave. Tell everyone this is a lie. Min-jun opened his mouth. Nothing came out. That silence was louder than any shout. Seo-yeon stepped forward then. One step, that's all it took. You want to know why I'm here? She said, her voice rising for the first time. You want to know why today? She gestured around the church. Because this is where lies feel safest. Wrapped in flowers, music, promises. She looked at Min-jun again. And because you don't get to stand there and swear honesty, when your family destroyed my name and you let it happen. Enough, Madame Kang screamed. Security! 2 guards hesitated at the aisle. They looked unsure. Because by now, this wasn't just a disruption. This was a scandal. Seo-yeon laughed then, a short, bitter sound. Go ahead, she said. Drag me out, but make sure the cameras see you take the child too. That stopped them. The bride's voice broke. This wedding is over, she said, shaking. I can't do this. Not like this. She turned to Min-jun, tears in her eyes now. Was any of it real? She asked. Even a little? He finally spoke. I don't know, he admitted. That was it. The final crack. She stepped back, pulled off the ring, and placed it gently on the altar. I won't marry into secrets, she said, or cowards. And then she walked away. No running, no screaming, just gone. The priest stood frozen. Guests were already standing, talking over each other now. Seo-yeon exhaled slowly. The child squeezed her hand. Did I do something bad? He whispered. Her face softened instantly. No, she said. You did exactly what you were supposed to. Min-jun watched them, watched the wedding dissolve, watched the life he thought he controlled slip out of reach. And then Seo-yeon turned back to him, one last time. We'll talk soon, she said, about who paid me. She paused. And about who you really are when your mother isn't speaking for you. Leaving the altar empty, the ring abandoned, and Min-jun standing there, realizing too late. This was never just about a child. It was about everything. Hospitals have a way of shrinking everything. Big names don't matter there. Money doesn't echo. Everyone sits in the same stiff chairs and pretends they're calm. Min-jun had never hated waiting rooms before. Seo-yeon sat across from him, straight-backed, quiet. The child beside her, swinging his legs like this was just another errand. That alone rattled him. No tears, no pleading, no rehearsed speech about love or betrayal. Just patience. You're really okay with this? Min-jun finally asked. A DNA test? Seo-yeon looked up. Why wouldn't I be? He frowned. Because if it comes back negative, she cut in gently. Then what? He opened his mouth, closed it. Here's what she meant. Here's what he was too slow to catch. If the test cleared him, he expected the nightmare to end. Guests would forget. The wedding could be explained away. His name could be salvaged. But Seo-yeon, she wasn't here for that. The nurse called the child's name. He stood, obedient, small fingers slipping out of Seo-yeon's hand. Will it hurt? He asked. Just a pinch, the nurse said. Seo-yeon smiled. You've been braver than all the adults today. Min-jun felt that one, hard. The door closed. Silence again. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Tell me who paid you, he said. Now. Seo-yeon studied him for a long moment. Then she said, Not yet. His jaw tightened. You're enjoying this. She shook her head. No, I'm controlling it. That was worse. The nurse returned. Paperwork followed. Signatures, muted voices. Then, the result. Min-jun didn't read it at first. He already knew what he wanted it to say. Negative, not the father. Relief hit him so fast it almost made him dizzy. There, he exhaled. It's over. Seo-yeon didn't react, didn't blink, didn't smile. She just nodded once. Yes, she said softly. It is. Something about her tone made his stomach drop. You lied, he said, suddenly angry. In front of everyone. She met his eyes. I told you I did. That child is not yours, she finished. Correct. He stood abruptly. Then you destroyed my wedding for nothing. Seo-yeon stood too, slowly, carefully. No, she said. I destroyed it because it deserved to be destroyed. He stared at her. What are you talking about? She stepped closer, not threatening, not dramatic, just close enough that he had to listen. You think the test was the point, she said. It wasn't. She reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. I needed you desperate, she continued. Panicked, publicly exposed. His chest tightened. Why? She looked at him then, not with anger, with disappointment. Because someone thought your wedding was the perfect distraction. His phone buzzed at the same time, a message from his assistant. The board is asking questions about a company you haven't worked with in years. Minjun's blood ran cold. Seo-Yeon stepped back. You wanted the truth, she said. Good. She turned toward the door. You're about to get all of it. And that was when Minjun realized. The DNA test hadn't cleared his name. It had only cleared the stage. Because whatever was coming next was bigger than a wedding. And it was already moving. Minjun didn't sleep. Not even for a minute. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the altar. The ring on the table. The way the room had turned on him without asking permission. By morning, he was done pretending. He found her at a cafe near the hospital. Not hiding, not rushing, sitting by the window like she had nowhere else to be. Sit, she said, before he even spoke. That annoyed him more than anything. You lied, he said, skipping pleasantries. You walked into my wedding and lied. Seo-Yeon stirred her coffee slowly. Didn't look up. Yes, she said, I did. Just like that. No defense, no excuses. He laughed, sharp and bitter. Are you even human? She finally looked at him then. Really looked. Here's what I mean, she said. You think lying is the worst thing I did. That's because you've never been powerless. That hit a nerve. You used a child, he sapped. Do you hear yourself? Her jaw tightened. Not anger, control slipping. I protected a child, she corrected, from men who see people as tools, including you. He leaned forward. Then explain now, or I walk. She nodded once, like she'd been waiting for that. The child isn't mine, she said. You know that now, but he isn't random either. Minjun stilled. He belongs to a woman who worked for one of your rival companies, she continued. She died last year. Quietly. No investigation. No noise. His chest tightened. She trusted the wrong people, Seo-Yeon said, just like I did. She reached into her bag and slid a thin folder across the table. Inside, photos, emails, contracts with names he recognized too well. Your competitors paid me, she said calmly. They knew your history with me. They knew your mother destroyed my name. They thought I'd do anything for revenge. And did you, he asked. She met his gaze. I let them think so. His stomach dropped. I pretended to be desperate, she went on. Poor, bitter, easy to manipulate. I let them hire me. I let them give me money. I let them plan the wedding disruption. You're insane, he whispered. She smiled faintly. No, I'm careful. She leaned in now, just a little. Every call was recorded, every payment documented, every instruction saved. I didn't just interrupt your wedding. She tapped the folder. I built a case. Minjun's phone buzzed again. This time, he didn't want to look. You should, she said softly. He did. Urgent. Authorities requesting documents related to Crescent Holdings. Board emergency session in 30 minutes. His blood went cold. You used me, he said hoarsely. Seo-Yeon shook her head. No, she said. I used the lie they forced me into 5 years ago. She stood. They called me a cheat, a gold digger, a woman who couldn't be trusted. Her voice lowered. So I became exactly what they thought I was, long enough to destroy them with it. Minjun stared at her, like he didn't recognize the woman in front of him. What happens now? He asked. Now? She said. Now the truth comes out. She paused, then added, and the part you still don't understand? He looked up. She smiled, small and dangerous. This was never about your wedding. She walked away, leaving him there, with the folder, with the calls coming in, with the sinking realization that the woman he failed to protect once had just outplayed everyone. The news didn't break. It exploded. Minjun hadn't even made it to the boardroom when his phone started vibrating nonstop. Not ringing, buzzing, like it was panicking for him. Messages stacked on top of each other. Have you seen this? We need a statement, now. Are the allegations true? By the time he walked into the building, the lobby screens were already playing it. Footage from the wedding. Her voice, crystal clear. I object. The child's small hand in hers. The bride's face collapsing in real time. His mother standing up, pointing, shouting. Someone had slowed the clip down, zoomed in, added captions. It was everywhere. Inside the boardroom, no one stood to greet him. That told him everything. What the hell did you do? One of the directors demanded. Min-Jun didn't sit. I didn't do anything, he said. That's the problem. Someone laughed. Not amused. Not kindly. Crescent Holdings is being investigated, another voice cut in. Their accounts are frozen. Authorities are asking why your company was quietly shielding them. Min-Jun's stomach dropped. Shielding. That wasn't his decision. His mother's. He looked at her. For the first time in his life, she didn't meet his eyes. Meanwhile, across town, Seo-Yeon sat in a quiet office, sleeves rolled up, hair pulled back. Not glamorous, not dramatic. Focused. Her lawyer leaned back in his chair and exhaled. You know this is going to get ugly, he said. She nodded. It already was. Screens in the room showed headlines rolling in fast. Former billionaire heir's wedding interrupted by fraud allegations. Rival firm exposed in bribery scandal. Who is the woman at the center of it all? The anchor said her name carefully, respectfully. That mattered more than she expected. Are you ready for what comes next? The lawyer asked. She thought about it for a second. Then she said, I've been ready for 5 years. Back at Kang Group, voices were rising now. We need to distance ourselves, someone said. This looks intentional, another added. Your personal history is compromising the company. Min-Jun finally snapped. This isn't personal, he shouted. This is corruption. Silence. That word had weight. You knew? A director asked his mother slowly. She lifted her chin. I did what was necessary. Min-Jun turned to her. You destroyed her, he said, not loudly. Worse. Calm. And you protected criminals while you were at it. She stared back. I protected this family. No, he said. You protected control. The vote happened faster than he expected. Suspensions. Internal investigations. Public apologies drafted by people who'd never once apologized in their lives. Outside, cameras waited. Inside, everything he thought was solid started cracking. And through all of it, one question kept following him like a shadow. How did she plan this so perfectly? As if summoned by the thought, his phone buzzed. This is the part where you decide who you are. No signature. He didn't need one. Min-Jun leaned back in his chair, stared at the ceiling, and finally admitted something he'd avoided for years. She hadn't ruined him. She'd revealed him. And the worst part, the story wasn't even finished yet. Here's the thing people got wrong about Seo-Yeon. They thought she came back broken, poor, bitter, desperate enough to grab at whatever chaos she could create. That story was comforting. It made her easier to dismiss. It was also completely wrong. The first article that corrected it didn't come from gossip blogs. It came from the business pages. Buried at first, then bolded. Han Seo-Yeon named silent partner in 3 major holdings. People blinked, read it again. Then the follow-up started landing like quiet blows. Her name attached to real companies, clean records, profits that didn't scream scandal, just competence. Turns out after she was thrown out with nothing, she didn't disappear. She rebuilt, slowly, intentionally. No interviews, no social media trail. She worked under other names, learned how contracts worked, how money moved, how men like Min-Jun's rivals hid their messes behind lawyers and charities. Here's what really made people uncomfortable. She didn't become rich loudly. She became untouchable quietly. Min-Jun read the reports alone in his office, again and again. This can't be right, he muttered. But it was. She hadn't come back because she needed him. She came back because she no longer did. Across town, Seo-Yeon sat in a conference room with her legal team. Calm, focused, no victory smile. This is the point, her lawyer said, when they try to rewrite the past. She nodded. Let them. He hesitated. They'll say you planned everything. She thought about that for a second. I did, she said, just not for the reason they think. The press finally found her that afternoon. Cameras, microphones, the usual chaos. One reporter shouted, "Were you ever really poor?" Seo-Yeon stopped, turned, and this time she didn't dodge the question. "I was," she said simply, "when your headlines helped destroy my name." Another voice cut in. "So the wedding, was it revenge?" She shook her head. "No," she said. "It was timing." That answer did something strange. It didn't inflame people. It sobered them. Back at Kang Group, Min-jun's mother watched the interview in silence. For the first time, she looked unsure. "She outsmarted us," she whispered. Min-jun didn't respond. He was staring at the screen, at the woman he once loved, the woman he failed, the woman who didn't come back to be forgiven. She came back to finish something. And suddenly the truth settled in his chest, heavy and irreversible. She wasn't the one standing trial anymore. Courtrooms don't feel dramatic when you're inside them. No music, no speeches that echo, just wood, glass, and the slow sound of consequences catching up. Seo-Yeon sat perfectly still at the plaintiff's table. Not nervous, not smug, focused. Like this was just another meeting that happened to matter more than most. Across the aisle, the executives from Crescent Holdings avoided her eyes. Good, they should. The judge adjusted his glasses. "Let's begin." And just like that, the version of events people had been arguing about online collapsed. Emails, recorded calls, payment trails. Her lawyer didn't rush, didn't dramatize. He let the evidence speak in the most boring way possible, which ironically made it devastating. "This payment," he said calmly, pointing at the screen, "was made to Ms. Han Seo-Yeon under the assumption she was financially vulnerable." A pause. They underestimated her. A few people in the gallery laughed before they could stop themselves. The defense tried to pivot. They always do. "She disrupted a wedding," one lawyer snapped. "She lied about a child." Seo-Yeon finally spoke. "One lie," she said quietly, "to expose 10 truths." The judge looked at her. Interested now. "Continue." Outside the courthouse, cameras were waiting. Of course they were. Headlines updated in real time. Rival firm implicated in bribery scheme. Wedding scandal connected to corporate fraud case. Min-jun watched it all from his office. He hadn't been asked to testify yet. That hurt more than being blamed. His mother sat beside him, rigid. "This has gone far enough," she muttered. "She's enjoying this." He didn't look at her. "No," he said. "She's finishing it." The verdict came faster than anyone expected. Fines, arrests pending, assets frozen. Crescent Holdings collapsed quietly. No apology tour, no redemption arc. Just gone. But Seo-Yeon didn't celebrate. She stepped out of the courthouse, ignored the shouting reporters, and walked straight to her car. "Ms. Han," someone yelled, "was it worth it?" She stopped. Here's what she could have said. Yes, absolutely. They deserved it. Instead, she said something smaller. "Ask me in 5 years." That night, Min-jun sat alone in the dark. His company survived, barely. His mother had stepped down, publicly for health reasons, but nothing felt stable anymore. His phone buzzed. A message. "It's over. For them, not for us." He stared at the screen. This was it, the moment he'd been running from since the wedding. The part where he didn't get to hide behind lawyers or boards or family names. The part where he had to face her. Not as a victim, not as a villain, but as the woman who knew exactly how much silence had cost her, and exactly how much it was about to cost him. They met at night. Of course they did. Not because it was dramatic, but because daylight felt too exposed for what this was about to be. Seo-Yeon chose the place. A quiet rooftop restaurant overlooking the river. No cameras, no press, no chance encounters. Min-jun arrived alone. No driver, no assistant, no armor. She noticed that immediately. "You look different," she said, not unkindly. He let out a breath that almost sounded like a laugh. "I think I finally am." They sat. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Not because they didn't have things to say, because they had too many, and choosing where to start felt dangerous. "I should have stopped it," he said finally. "Back then. I should have asked questions. I should have believed you." She nodded once. "Yes," she said, "you should have." No forgiveness hidden in her voice. No bitterness either. Just truth. He swallowed. I didn't know how. She leaned back slightly, studied him. Think about it this way, she said. You knew how to protect your company, your name, your comfort. You just didn't know how to protect me. That one landed, harder than any accusation. I loved you, he said, too quickly, like he was afraid the moment would pass if he didn't say it now. I know, she replied. That's what made it worse. He flinched. Outside, the city moved on. Cars, lights, people with problems smaller than this. I don't expect anything from you, he said. Not forgiveness, not a second chance. She raised an eyebrow. Then why are you here? He hesitated. Because there's something you don't know, he said. That got her attention. What? He reached into his jacket and placed a folder on the table. Thinner than the one she'd handed him weeks ago, but heavier in a different way. I was quiet for years, he said. Too quiet. But after the wedding, after everything fell apart, I started looking too. Her fingers rested on the folder. She didn't open it yet. And, she asked, and what my family did to you, he said carefully, wasn't the first time, or the worst. Her jaw tightened, just slightly. There are other names, he continued. Other women, other deals. Things buried so deep, even I didn't know they existed. He met her eyes, and some of them, they're still in power. That was the moment the air changed. This wasn't closure. This was escalation. Seo-Yeon opened the folder, read one page, then another. When she looked up, her expression wasn't shocked. It was resolved. So, she said slowly, you're telling me the truth only goes part way. He nodded. And if it comes out, it won't just damage reputations. It'll dismantle empires. She closed the folder, sat back, and smiled. Not warmly, not cruelly, interested. You should have brought this to the authorities, she said. I will, he replied, but not alone. She tilted her head. You want me involved. I want you leading it, he said. You see things I don't. You always did. She was quiet for a long moment. This doesn't mean I trust you, she said. I know. It doesn't mean I forgive you. I know. She picked up the folder. But, she added, it does mean we're not finished. She turned to leave, then paused. One more thing, she said. If we do this, there's no stepping back, no protecting names, no choosing comfort when it gets ugly. He didn't hesitate this time. I'm done choosing comfort. She nodded and walked away, leaving him there with the city below, finally understanding something he'd learned far too late. He hadn't lost her because she was cruel. He lost her because she was brave. And that's where part 1 ends. Not because the story is finished, but because this is the moment everything turns. If this story stayed with you, if you felt the weight of what was left unsaid, like the video, subscribe, and comment if you want part 2, because what comes next isn't about exposure anymore. It's about what falls after the truth.